Good morning. Because of the lockdown, we are now in lockdown for our church as well with the coronavirus, and that's impacted everybody on the northern beaches. We're unsure at this stage whether we'll have our Christmas Eve or Christmas Day service live, but we'll hopefully know more later on in the week. We're up to our fourth in our series of sermons looking at the Psalms, and our fourth topic is the Messiah will be betrayed, and he will also looking at his death upon the cross. And it's interesting, as we look at the Psalms, they're 1,000 years before Jesus, and yet they predict so accurately so many of the events that were linked to Jesus' life in the final weeks. Now, the first prediction we want to look at is the Messiah will be betrayed by one of his own disciples. Psalm 41 verse 9 says, "Even my close friend in whom I trust, who ate my bread, has lifted his heel against me." And of course, we realise this is Judas Iscariot, and that on the night of that Jesus died, the Thursday night, it says in Mark 14, "And when it came evening, he came with his 12, and as they were reclining at table and eating, Jesus said, 'Truly I say to you, one of you here will betray me, who is eating with me.'" The second prophecy is that the Messiah will be abandoned by his own disciples. And this is predicted for us in Psalm 69 verse 20. "Reproaches have broken my heart, so I am in despair. I look for pity, but there is none, and for comforters, but I found none." And of course, we realize on the night that Jesus was betrayed, Judas came and kissed him. And it says in Mark 14:50 that the disciples all left him and they fled. The third key area of predictions are related to the political and religious leaders of Jesus' day, and that they would conspire against him. The very people who should have loved him and worshipped and welcomed him are the very ones who wanted him dead. So we see in Psalm 2 verse 1, "Why do the nations rage and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against the Lord's anointed." Now we find this is true at the beginning of Mark's Gospel in chapter 3 verse 6. It says, "The Pharisees went out and immediately held counsel with the Herodians against Jesus, and they thought of ways that they could destroy him." And as we go through the Gospels, we can see time and time again when the religious leaders would attack and seek to catch Jesus out. And we find that one of the ways they did this is the fourth prediction, which is the Messiah will be accused by false witnesses. So we find there in Psalm 27, "Give me not up to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and they breathe out violence." Now in Matthew 26, verse 59, it says, "The chief priests and the whole council were seeking false testimony against Jesus, that they may put him to death. But they found none." They had many false witnesses come forward, and at last two came forward and said this, "This man said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days." Now, with these words that Jesus actually said, no. If we go back to John chapter 2, verse 19, it says that Jesus said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." Very distinctively different wording. The fifth prediction is that the Messiah will be despised, and he'll be rejected by his own. He'll be rejected by his family, rejected by his village, by Jews, by the Pharisees, by the religious leaders, and all those who lived in Israel. So Psalm 22 says, "But I am a worm and not a man, scorned by mankind and despised by the people." And we find on that Thursday night, back in Luke 23, verse 21, "But they kept shouting, the crowd, 'Crucify, crucify him.' And then a third time he said to the crowd, 'Why? What evil has Jesus done? I have found in him no guilt deserving death. I will therefore punish him, and I will release him.' But they were urgently demanding with loud cries that he should be crucified, and their voices prevailed." The sixth prophecy is the Messiah will be hated without cause. So there in Psalm 35 verse 19, "Let not those who rejoice over me, who are wrongfully my foes, and let not those wink the eye who hate me without cause." We find at the end of Jesus' life there in John chapter 18 verse 19, it says, "The high priest then questioned Jesus about his disciples and his teaching. And Jesus answered him, 'I've spoken openly to the world. I've taught in your synagogues and I've taught in your temples, where all Jews come together. I have said nothing in secret. Why do you ask me? Ask those who heard me what I said to them. They know what I said." When he said these things, one of the officers standing by him struck Jesus with his hand, saying, "Is this how you should answer a high priest?" And Jesus responded, "If what I said is wrong, bear witness about the wrong. But if what I said is right, who are you to strike me?" And earlier in John's Gospel there in chapter 15:25, it says, "But the word which is written in their law shall be fulfilled. They hated me without cause." The seventh prediction is the Messiah will be mocked. So there in Psalm 109:25, "I'm an object of scorn to my accusers. When they see me, they wag their heads." And this is exactly what happens in Matthew 27:29, that those who passed by Jesus derided him and wagged their heads. The eighth prediction is that believers will say to the Messiah, he trusted in God, let him not deliver him. And this is predicted also in Psalm 22 verse 8. "He trusts in the Lord, let him deliver him, let him rescue him, for he delights in him." And we find there at the end of Matthew's Gospel, chapter 27:41, "See also the chief priests with the scribes and elders mocking him, saying, 'He saved others, he cannot save himself.